Alright, what's up guys, Azura here, and today I have for you a deck profile for set 4, not set 5, I still have a bunch of set 4 stuff to go through, and today we'll go over probably the deck I had the most fun with from set 4 being Altmile. So this deck is very simple, very efficient deck. The deck got a few new toys to play with, and we'll go over them in the deck, so without further ado, here is the list. The deck decides to load. No Shion because he's a shitter, and Kai is the actual good player, so that's why we're using Kai. Shion is a very bad player, so yeah. So this is the list. It's not too many new cards actually. The new Cecilius, the one of here. We'll go over everything as we get along. So first off, my starter choice is actually not the Milius. I choose Libragol as my starter. So he is the generic CB1. Put the Soul Check top 5 at grade 3 to hand. So the reason I choose to play Libragol over Milius is because Milius, I'm pretty sure is the name of the starter, the one that usually most people play. I choose Libragol just because this deck lives and dies by getting to Altmile Ride, so I do value the consistency of that more. And because I have the 4 aerial Altmile, I don't feel like the Milius serves a role in the deck anymore, just because Milius grabs you any grade 2, but aerial Altmile does the exact same thing. So I just feel like that because I have the full set of aerial Altmiles, being able to tutor a grade 2 just isn't as important for me, and I personally do value just grabbing the trying to secure main rise as consistently as possible. I just value that more, and since I'm playing Gans a lot, Libragol can also just turn this up into an intercept as well, because if you get Gans a lot, you can just Gans a lot back for a Blaster Blade. So there's that. So that's personally why I choose to play the Libragol over the Milius. Grade 1s, honestly speaking, I'd say the grade 1s that are not the PG and the Stride Fighter do not matter. I feel like the other 5 slots could be whatever you want it to be. I just choose to play Pier just because he can scale and turn anything into a solo attacker. His skill is once GB1 once per turn, when your grade 2 is placed onto your board and your Vanguard is grade 3 or higher Altmile, himself and the unit that's in front of it get plus 2k, so or the rear that's in front of it get plus 2k, so it's nice, it's there, it's probably the best grade 1 in this lot, question mark. I've never really been happy with any of the grade 1s in this deck. I think they all just kind of suck, so I just play the one that's the least bad. And then the one for me is a Battle Song Angel, so its skill is GB1 during if the number of grade 1 or lower units that you have is other grade 1 or lower units have is 2 or more plus 2k, and it gets resist. You would think I'd play more of this card. I do think that if you are on Milius, I think this card's a fine 4-up, because Milius itself is a grade 0, meaning grade 1 or lower. So Milius is the starter that stays on the board. If you just get 2 of these, you can just get an entire back row of like non-retirable stuff, which is really good. However, I'm on Libragol, so I don't have the luxury of having the Milius being a resist booster. So for me, I have to actually hard draw 3 of these guys that have like a full back row that can't be retired, because if you kill off one of them, the rest of your back row is now snipeable again by effects. So if you are on the Milius, I do think that you should probably on Battle Song, because again, all your grade 1s suck, so it doesn't really matter which ones you play. But because I'm on Libragol, I only choose to play it as a 1-of. And the other good one you can play is the Cray Elemental, the Peeker, the one that has anti-retire. That one's fine too, but I just personally don't value that as much. So anti-retire, I do value the extra power this thing can get, because it lets your column scale a little better. So that is why I just play 4 Piers as my secondary grade 1. So yeah, that's it for grade 1s. Grade 2s, I have Blaster Blade as a 3-of. It's a 3-of. On play, Vanguard Rear CB2, pop grade 2 or higher. He's been here in set 1, and he's still here for me. And I'll get to why I'm playing this package afterwards, but I'll just go over the grade 2s first. So next off, we have 2 fragments. Niner Fragment GB1. If you have 2 or more grade 2 or higher rearguards, this unit gets plus 2k and on hit soul charge 1, counter charge 1. This deck is quite actually more counterblast heavy than the other builds, just because I'm on Blaster Blade. But yeah, solo attacker plus counter charger, really nice. Altmile has a recycle skill, so I value him the least out of these cards. Well, that's why I only play 2 of it. But as long as you can get 1 into rotation, you just keep cycling that 1 copy over and over again, assuming it doesn't get binded or anything. So yeah, nice card to have, and because you have the recycle skill, I think this card is a fine 2-of. Next off, your main like killing it, your main game ender, your attack extender, whatever you want to call it, Twin Sword. His skill is GB1. When this unit attacks the Vanguard and he is boosted, CB1 call a grade 2 that's not Knight of Twin Sword from your deck anywhere. So yeah, calls stuff to extend an extra attack with. Just know that you can't call him and then call this dude and then use this to call over the Twin Sword. Twin Sword's attack has not technically gone through yet, so you'd be canceling out your own attack if you do that. So yeah. And finally, the new addition is the Cecilius. His skill is GB1 once per turn. Or actually no, GB1 on play. If your grade 3, if your Vanguard is a grade 3 or a higher Altmile, Soul Blast 1, Counter Blast 1 to call any grade 2 for deck that's not another copy of himself, and then he gets plus 2k. So he is a before the slot was usually the what's his face? What's his name again? The Starlight Violinist. I do think it comes down to preference which one you want between these two, because Violinist has the downside being 8k, but has the upside of not being GB locked, meaning you can use him on turn 2 or turn 3, which is pretty good. He has the upside of being a 9k base, downside of having GB1, but he is also a solo attacker, because when you use a skill, he gets plus 2, so meaning he's 11, and he is a 9k base. So I think it comes down to preference which one you play. I like this guy more just because on a Gablade turn, he can also be used to extend like that, because you can go rear, Vanguard, Gablade call him, and then he can reset the other column, so that's pretty nice there, while having our column scale. I do think the scaling, the extra power that he gets as opposed to the fact that he is a baseline 9k is what makes you want to play this card over the Starlight Violinist, which does not scale properly. So yeah, that's why I play 4 of him. And finally the grade 3s, or triggers I guess, Heal Guards, not going to go over those, 4 Altmile, GB2, all your farm gets plus 5k during your turn, and when you stride, you can choose to call up to 2 cards from your hand to rears. It's the calling completely optional. Even if you call nothing, you still get the rest of the skill. The rest of the skill being choose 2 of your units, give them plus 5k. Then you can choose any grade 2 unit draw zone and put it back into your deck. So lets you recycle your grade 2s, keep using them, which is really good. Actually really integral to this deck because you burn through your grade 2s super fast. So the recycle skill is very, very needed. And then on ride plus 3k. One of is Alfred. I'm not even gonna bother going over this because he's just here just as a filler 1-up. It's just kind of like the least bad grade 3 you have. And finally, Mr. Gancelot, Vanguard Circle. You have a Blaster Blade and Soul. CV2 for 5k and a crit might come up, but obviously we're playing for the hand skill. Put it back into the deck, search deck for a Blaster Blade, add to your hand. So the reason I'm playing the Blaster Blade Gancelot package is because for a few reasons actually. One, all your grade 3s that are not Gancelot suck. Like I've tried other cards, they all suck. Your least bad option after this is probably Unlockers, and that's relevant in one matchup. So kind of iffy on that, just because I like having cards that do things in every matchup. So definitely not the best. But the main reason I'm playing this is because on your kill turn, ideally you have a retire and the Twin Sword, so you can retire and intercept, go rear, and then Twin Sword swings at face, reset the other column, that swings, so you get 3 clean hits at face when it points at 5. All more or less should be scaling over heal guards except for like 1 attack. So really good there. But yeah, the reason for that is because Aerial Altmile can only dig you for 1 of the 2 pieces, right? And if you're playing Spirit, you specifically have to be holding Twin Swords the entire game for your kill turn to actually use them. Obviously, you're playing Force, but you'll draw them eventually. But sometimes you just have to play them down just as rears to attack with. So by playing this makes it so that I can draw into either Gancelot, Blaster Blade, or Twin Sword, and then Aerial Altmile can tutor me the other one. Because with Spirit only works when called from deck, meaning if you have a Spirit in hand and you call it, it doesn't do anything. So you have to call Twin Sword and get less attacks like that. So I think this is actually just more consistent overall, just because it gets you it lets you do your kill turn more consistent because you can draw 1 of 11 pieces as opposed to 1 of 4 pieces. So yeah. Now, obviously, Spirit has the upside of being cheaper on Counterblast, but I don't think Counterblast is an issue in this deck. So I do think that Gancelot Blaster Blade is worth playing in this deck over playing Spirits. And obviously, at worst, Gancelot can just be stride fodder, as with all your other grade 3s that you could be playing that slot. But I just find that Gancelot also just being an extra copies of grade 2 is just really nice too. So yeah, and a returning trigger, obviously. So I do think that the upside is there is there to play this package over Spirits. The upside of Spirits is that it's cheaper on Counterblast, and that's basically it. The upside of this package is that you have more pieces you can draw into on your kill turn, gain slots or recycling trigger, and gain slots has extra intercepts in your hand if you draw into them. So yeah, I do think this is actually the better way to play the deck, but that's just my opinion, obviously. But I do like the deck the way it is. And finally, we have the Strides. The newest addition to the deck, and probably by far the best thing we got from this set for this deck, is the Aerial Altmile. His skill is during your turn, your front row gets plus 3k, so your rears get to be everything's a solo attacker, and it's extra 3k for scaling. It's really cool. But his GB2 skill is on place G flip, so that's why you need 4 of this card. I personally do not recommend playing this deck without 4 of it. This card is very, very important. I cannot stress how important this card is, because his skill is on place G flip, search your deck for any grade 2 and call it, and unit gets plus 5k. So very simple skill, but it's a very good skill because again you can tutor for any grade 2 you need. So again, if you have Blaster Blade in hand, tutor for Twin Sword. If you have Twin Sword in hand, tutor for Blaster Blade. If you just need a board, tutor for Sicilius. If you want to countercharge, just tutor for Fragment. But usually you tutor for Blaster Blade or Twin Sword. So very, very good card. Extra 5k lets you scale over heal guards when everyone's at 5, so you can just check for 3 clean hits for 3 clean PG strike instead. So really, really good. I think this card is really, really good. I definitely do think you need 4 to play this deck. Then up for your first Strides, you have Gablade. On hit the Vanguard, search deck for any grade 2 and call it. It's nice to be just grade 2 or higher and call it. Well, usually it's grade 2 because you don't want to call grade 3s, but it's nice because you can in this deck you can actually scale your boosters, so you can actually like hit over defensive and stuff, which is really good. And you do have ways to extend the 1 attack with the Sicilius and Twin Sword as well, so that's also really nice. So definitely nice to have. You play 2 just because if you play, I personally like having these 2 as a filler, as a 1-up text, so I can't exactly play Saint Blow here, and I'll get to why I'm not playing Saint Blow afterwards. So yeah, for now, two good blades usually only go into 1, but sometimes the second one does come up, so I do think it's nice to have. 1 Samuel, you'd think it'd be a really weird choice that you are playing Samuel, but I do think he has enough niches where he does come up where I do think it's worth playing the 1. His skills, when using attacks of Vanguard, if your opponent's damage is 4 or less, you can ping them for 1. You can CV1 to ping them for 1. So yeah, so it's like the drag ruler skill, you can call it. You hit them for 1, you just hit them for 1 damage, which is really nice. The reason why this card is nice is because if you got second, your opponent just doesn't put out intercepts for you to hit because they need to conserve cards in hand for because they're like a combo heavy deck or something. Samuel is a better stride to go into than a Gablade because you can just go rear column, as long as it hits, it's fine. Another column that scales over 1 defense and have Vanguard skill as the biggest. You do that, and you can just hit them from like 2 to 5 and check for a guard on your first drive, which is really good. So I do think that there are enough situations where Samuel comes up that he is a very good 1-up to have. And finally, the Harmonics just unlock. This deck is very borderline, so you get screwed over by lock quite a bit. So I do think having the 1 locker is nice. And as to why I'm not playing Saint Blow, I just don't think there are enough decks in the meta right now that actually retire stuff that Saint Blow can protect you against. Vanquisher still gets over you because Vanquisher strike bonus still it retires and then binds it. Kagero is like nowhere on ladder as of recent. Gears bot deck your stuff. Messiah locks your stuff. Bermuda does not do anything that interacts with the front row that is not attacking into it. Aquaforce ignores intercepts and they don't retire your front row anyways, so I just don't think there are enough decks in the meta that retire that you care about to warrant playing Saint Blow. The Paladin decks aren't very popular either, so you don't worry about those either. But yeah, obviously, if retire is very heavy in the meta, you'd probably cut this like a Samuel and a Twin Sword, or not Samuel, a Blade for 2 Saint Blows. But at the moment, I just don't think they do enough at all whatsoever. So yeah, that's why I don't play them. Because it also requires you to slot in 2 cards in your G zone to fill in the 2 for the flip requirements. So I think just clogs up your G zone too much for me to warrant wanting to play it. If it wasn't a G flip and it flipped anything, I'd probably play one of it over this one of the Blades, but it's not, so that's why we don't play it at all. So yeah. So that's it for my deck profile for Altmile. Some games for you guys as per usual. Tell me guys what you think about this deck below down in the comments, and I will see you guys next time. Peace out.